Alright, welcome back. Act 6, Interlude, Orders of the Watcher. Okay, so now we're gonna see what happens after, because I don't think I've seen what happens after this, to be honest. I've played the second Undead book, but not after this. Anyway, let's get into it. After successfully dealing with Quernus, Ornasian and Haran returned to report to Arkain. They were accompanied by Pentis and an army of Lenira family. At their initial meeting with Arkain, the Dark Elves had immediately fallen to their knees, praying to their Divine One, Arkain. They were quick to cast aside the idea of a goddess, and would instead call Arkain only the Divine One from now on. As a reward for their loyalty, they were allowed to form the Lenira Nexus, combining the living forces of the Lenira family with the living legions of the undead, with Pentis as its leader. After this initial meeting, Arkain called for Ornasian and Haran. Alright, interesting. Let's see what's it about. Welcome, Ornasian and Haran Telkazor. I'm pleased with the success of your mission. Not only have you been able to bring me the artifact I asked you to acquire, you've also added the Dark Elves to our ranks. Yes. What is this artifact that you want anyway? It is the Scepter of Death, the signature item of the God of Death himself, created long before his demise. It is capable of channeling the very essence of death itself. The power of this scepter could make anyone who approached the entrance of the Dead Mountain die within a blink of an eye. If that is the case, why did you not use it earlier? There was no need to. Most were too scared to enter the mountain anyway, for none of them returned regardless. It was easier to manipulate mortals into not caring about the one cursed mountain and focus on other things instead. Having people die when they try to enter the mountain without any sign as to what caused the sudden death would have been suspicious and counterproductive to what I had wanted to achieve in the past. Now that we have the demons on our doorstep and have constructed strong hard and miss defenses on the Dead Mountain, I believe that such things are no longer important indeed. So the Dark Elves have served their purpose. Shall I give the order to destroy them and raise them to turn the new Lenira Nexus into an actual undead Nexus? You will do no such thing. As I've already told you, I do not wish for all life to be destroyed. The Dark Elves are my creation, and their destruction would serve no purpose. They are scheming, power-obsessed mortals with an unhealthy addiction to plants that care little for anything else than themselves. It is only a matter of time, Omega. You need not worry about their loyalty, Ornasian. They may scheme amongst themselves, but betraying me is the one thing they will never do. You imprison them deep below the Dead Mountain and cut ties with them for generations. How can you be so sure about that? Given that I've seen about their nature so far, it is more than likely some among them already scheme to take your place. Godlike status is tempting for mortal creatures, isn't it? Also, if you are their creator, then what about the normal elves that live in their little forest kingdom? I did not get the impression that they were your subjects or worshipped you like the Dark Elves do. They are descendants of the Dark Elves that I hadn't sealed beneath the Dead Mountain. They were outcasts that hid in the forest. I decided to let them live. I had no reason to harm them. I only made sure that they forgot where they came from. Their original heritage is not recorded in their history. Regarding the Dark Elves, as you already know, Ornasian, they are my creations. They may be ambitious and scheming, but they revere me. Even after all these generations, they all strive for the place below me, not for my place itself. As you say, I'll keep my eyes on them nonetheless. If they do in fact act against me, you have my permission to act as you see set fit. Your opinion has been noted. Master, why did you seal the Dark Elves inside the Dead Mountain in the first place? If I had allowed them to roam freely, they would have enslaved the younger races in my name. I did not want that to occur. It was my wish to have Arkain and its races decide their own fate without my interference. I would only interfere where necessary. At the same time, I foresaw that I would need them again in the future, so I sealed them away. Your seal did not prevent the orcs from getting inside, it seems. Yes, it is intriguing that some orcs had apparently been able to enter the tunnels shortly after the defeat of their invasion so long ago. For a long time, the seal only prevented creatures from leaving the tunnels, not entering them. I had to preserve my strength at the time of its creation. I did not expect anything to get inside and actually survive. The orcs have a troubling history of accomplishing deeds that I do not wish them to accomplish. Their tendency is almost impressive, I must say. To think that they aren't even doing these things intentionally. Their tendency, as you call it, fails to amuse me as much as it seems to amuse you, Crom. Still, it feels ridiculous that they think that they had to thank our master for saving their lives. That worshipping you is interesting. That's not the term I would use. I wouldn't have helped them if I had known that they were down there. On the contrary, I would have been the one to drive them out. Of course, master, but the creatures seem to be rather persistent about this. They thought you had sent us to test them. I assumed they may have observed the devotion of the Dark Elves and believed that they also had to worship me. It matters little in the end. These cave orcs have lost much power since your journey into the tunnels. The few that are left will be no issue for the Dark Elves to deal with. They are irrelevant. I assume we should carry out the next part of your plan then, Master. Yes, in order to proceed I need you to bring me the Mask of Illusions. He is located in the capital of Toran, which is currently under siege by the Parian rebels. Take Serados, the Flesh-Tearer, and Sister Pantis with you. Rebels, you say? The humans are wasting no time continuing the internal conflicts. How typical. Yes, it appears that the arrival of this golden guard from the other side of the Great Sea has only increased hostilities within the human ranks. It is only a matter of time until they fracture even further. We'll only watch this for the time being. However, I believe that the people of the capital of Toran could be persuaded to give us what we want freely. We dealt with their attackers. They're growing desperate. They might even betray their mage order. I'm leaving this to you and the Rohir Nexus, Rahandir. Of course, Master. One more thing, Rahandir. The mortal called Garden Bloodclaw has been sent to deal with the rebels. If you happen to come across him, I want you to take a look at him. I want to know more about the magic he uses. Prentice will assist you. Certainly. Nassian, you will accompany Queen Kira to the eastern part of the Elven Kingdom. The elves there are demon worshippers that manage to hide from the eyes of the mortals. They are going to try sabotaging the combined defense efforts of the humans. If they succeed, you would heavily cripple the humans' defenses. You cannot allow the humans to fail, because of their blindness. I remember the infiltration of the Elven Kingdom. Cursider had wanted to hold the remaining infiltrators back until the end of the invasion. It would be a pleasure putting an end to one of his plans. Saphira will catch up with you later. In the meantime, Crom, you will lead the Scarrick and Rohir Nexus to the mountains at the border of Soleria. The demons are trying to invade the southern kingdom to open the new front. Do not allow that to happen. With pleasure. Good. That will be all then. This is where we part our ways for the time being. It has been an interesting experience to work alongside you, Harn Telkazar. I look forward to our next encounter. I agree. In fact, you may call me Haran the next time we meet. I wish you success in enforcing the will of the Watcher, Nassian. Right, that was it for today. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Where is it?